What is up guys, Jarv here, back today jumping into Destiny 2. Now in today's video we're taking a look at the best SMGs that you want to be taking into Beyond Light. We've covered a few of these as part of a series, so if you want to check out the best submachine guns ahead of the next expansion, then be sure to stick around and check out the video. Now if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a rating down below, that super helps me out here on the channel. And if you're new here and want to keep up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 content, be sure to hit subscribe as well. But without further delay guys, let's jump into the video. Now before we get into the meat of today's video, I want to first once again invite you all to the Jarv Community Hub. This is an amazing growing Discord. We have over 3,000 incredible Guardians as members now, so be sure to jump in. We have a growing LFG and we're helping people get things done before the end of the season. So if you've got a few raids, dungeons, or even a few exotic missions that you need to get out of the way, be sure to jump in. It's available to everyone, and you can find the link to this down in the video description below. Now, as we said in the intro, we've been covering each archetype of weapon as part of this series, as part of the prep for Beyond Light, which is merely a few weeks away. And today we're taking a look at submachine guns specifically. Now, these are the top 5 that I believe you most definitely want to be checking your vault for, or at least trying to farm the ones that you can ahead of the next expansion. And the first one we're going to take a look at today is the Escape Velocity. This is a legendary kinetic submachine gun. This one is a lightweight frame, so it has superb handling, and you also move faster when you have the weapon equipped. Now if you don't have an Escape Velocity, this is a random world drop, so you can get it from any legendary engram that drops out in the wild, but you can also have it drop from handing in tokens at the tower or purchasing engrams from Master Rahul. Now as a lightweight frame, it's one of the lower impact SMGs on our list today, but nevertheless it has some pretty incredible perks available to it which make it entirely unique. Now 91% of Guardians have this SMG, so be sure to check your vaults at least to see if you have any of the roles that we're going over today. Now if you're looking for an absolute top tier PvE SMG, then you want to be looking for things like Grave Robber, which is available in the middle column. Now Grave Robber is where melee kills reload a portion of the weapon's magazine and grants ammo for primary weapons and reloads from reserves for any special or heavy weapons. And if you pair this with something like Surrounded, which is available in the final tree, this is where the weapon gains increased damage when 3 or more enemies are in close proximity. And you can pair this with a Surrounded spec mod, which you can get from Ada 1 over in the tower, and this further increases the benefit of the Surrounded perk. Now some other really good options. Overflow is a unique perk on this SMG. This is where picking up special or heavy ammo will reload the weapon beyond its normal capacity, and that's very unique for a submachine gun. But also Threat Detector, which is very popular, and you'll see this on many machine guns today, and this increases your reload, stability and handling when enemies are in close proximity. And finally, in the last column, we have a few unique options. Obviously, Surrounded is the top tier PvE option, but Vorpal Weapon is also available on this weapon. Now, if you haven't seen this perk before, this increases your damage against bosses, vehicles, and guardians with their super active. Having this perk on a lightweight frame is very powerful, as that increased damage is very noticeable, especially against guardians. Now this weapon was introduced in Season 10, so as a result has a maximum power cap of 1310 and will last you all the way up until Season 14, the penultimate season of Year 4. So if you haven't got one drop out in the world, be sure to check your vaults to see if you've been holding on to one and it's been gathering some dust. Now next on our list is the Cold Front. This is a legendary kinetic submachine gun as well. This one though is an aggressive frame, so it deals high damage but also has high recoil. Now this one was introduced back in Season 9 as part of a Dawning event, so if you haven't got this, sadly you won't be able to obtain it currently. However, check your vaults to see if you did obtain one and to see if you have any of the roles that we're going to go over today. Now this submachine gun has some of the best perks available within the archetype. So it has things like Tactical Mag and Appended Mag as top tier magazine options. Accurized rounds is also possible, which provides a flat +10 to your range, which is excellent for the Crucible. Now if you're looking for the absolute god roll though, then Feeding Frenzy will be your preferred option in the middle column, and this is where with each rapid kill with this weapon progressively increases your reload speed for a short time. Zen Moment is also a possible role in the middle column, which will be excellent for console players, and this is where causing damage with this weapon increases its stability. And in the final column we are almost spoilt for choice. You have Kill Clip, where reloading after a kill grants increased weapon damage. That's what I have on my one, and that's very noticeable and powerful for both PvE and PvP. Vorpal Weapon also rolled on this submachine gun, as does Rangefinder, but also Dynamic Sway Reduction, which also got a buff recently, and this improves your accuracy and stability whilst continuously holding down the trigger. So if you've got that and Zen Moment, for example, you will have a very solid and stable SMG indeed. But for me, Feeding Frenzy and Kill Clip is most definitely the way to go on this 750 RPM SMG. Only 50% of players have it, so be sure to check your vaults to see if you have. As we said, it was introduced in Season 9, so it has a power cap of 1260, so it will last you up until Season 13, the season after Beyond Light launches. So that rounds out the kinetic SMGs in our list today. Next up is our first energy one, and this is the Death Adder. This is a legendary energy submachine gun. This one, and as we know, you get superb handling, and you also move faster when you have the weapon equipped. Now, if you don't have a Death Adder, you can get this through the Prophecy Dungeon, so you'll need to jump into this before it goes at the end of this season and will return later in Year 4. So if you haven't managed to get a completion yet, then consider jumping into the community Discord and we can see if we can give you a helping hand. Now overall, this weapon has some excellent perks available to it. The only thing it is missing is those extra damage dealing perks we all come to know and love. That aside though, there are some incredible perks and roles available on this weapon. Now I have Feeding Frenzy and Dragonfly on mine, which is one of the top tier PvE roles. You have some excellent magazine choices. You have Tactical Mag, Appended Mag and Extended Mag all there, and also accurized rounds for that boost in range if you're in the Crucible. But alongside Feeding Frenzy, which is available in the middle column, you also have the option of either auto-loading holster or subsistence. Now subsistence is an interesting perk, especially for this weapon. This is where kills partially reload the magazine from reserves, but your reserves capacity is reduced. But that is still a very strong perk, especially for PvE. If you're looking for Crucible though, then Dynamic Sway Reduction rolls in the middle column, and that'll improve your accuracy and stability whilst continuously holding down the trigger. Now in the final column, we are spoiled for choice. Obviously I have Dragonfly, where precision kills create a elemental damage explosion. But you also have the option of Disruption Break, where breaking an enemy shield with the weapon makes them more vulnerable to kinetic damage for a brief period. And you can pair this with something like Izanagi's Burden to take advantage of that extra damage. But if you're looking for Crucible though, again, you are really spoiled for choice. You have Eye of the Storm as an available perk where the weapon becomes more accurate and boosts the handling as your health gets lower. You also have Rangefinder as well as Moving Target. And as well as those three, it can also roll Quick Draw, so you are really spoiled for choice when it comes to the Crucible. Now as we said, you'd need to jump into the Prophecy Dungeon to get this weapon. It was reissued this season, so as a result has a power cap of 1360 and will last you all the way up to Season 15. Next up on the list is another energy submachine gun, and this is the 7th Seraph VY7 Legendary Energy SMG. This weapon is a precision frame, so the weapon's recoil pattern is predictably vertical, and this is a 600 RPM weapon. Now this one was issued back in Season 10, so if you don't have this, you can still get one through the Umbral engrams over at the tower via the Prismatic Recaster, so be sure to use those Umbral engrams to your advantage between now and the end of the season. Now once again, it has the normal magazines available to it, things like Tactical Mag, Appended Mag and Extended Mag with accurized rounds for Crucible. It has some unique options though. In the middle column you have Firmly Planted, which is the first weapon to roll this in our list today, and this increases your accuracy, stability and handling whilst firing when crouched. It also can roll Ambitious Assassin, which is a top tier PvE perk, and this will overflow your magazine based on the number of rapid kills made before reloading. The one I have on mine now is 4th Time's a Charm, and this is where rapidly landing precision hits will return 2 rounds to the magazine. And in the final column you have a few choices here. I have Dragonfly once again, where precision kills create a elemental damage explosion. But you have a choice of either Feeding Frenzy, which is unusually in the final column to speed up your reload, or Vorpal Weapon, which will increase your damage against bosses, vehicles and any guardians with their super active. Now this being a Seraph weapon, it also has the ability to create Warm Mind cells, which is excellent if you can spec those into your builds, but also the scopes on this weapon allow you to highlight targets, which is going to be fantastic for those lower visibility encounters that we're due to encounter when we land on Europa in a few weeks time. Now as we said earlier, this was introduced in Season 10. It has a power cap of 1310, so much like some of the others we've covered today, this will last you until Season 14, the penultimate season at the end of Year 4, and 83% of players have this. So if you haven't got a good one already, you still have time, so be sure to hand in those Umbral engrams and focus them where you need to at the Recaster. Now the last one on our list today is the Ikelos SMG V1.0.2. This again is a legendary energy submachine gun. This one though is an aggressive frame which deals high damage but has high recoil and is a 750 RPM. Now if you haven't got your hands on one of these yet, where have you been? Because you can still get these again through the Prismatic Recaster over at the tower. Simply focus those Umbral engrams where you need to make sure you're channeling your RNG be in the right areas. Now this one is a personal favourite of mine. It has some pretty incredible magazine options, which is the same as all the ones we've covered so far today with Tactical Mag, Appended Mag and Extended Mag, but uniquely this one has Seraph rounds, and this is where rounds over-penetrate targets and bounce off surfaces, and this is a top tier option for Crucible, but I personally find it very useful inside PvE too. Now for PvE you have some excellent choices. Threat Detector is here, which will increase your reload stability and handling when enemies are in close proximity, and that's the role that I have on mine. We also have the option of Subsistence, which is the same as the Seraph SMG we just covered, and also Grave Robber, where once again melee kills reload a portion of the weapon's magazine, which grants ammo for primary weapons. An option for PvP though, if you're looking for a Crucible role, is Dynamic Sway Reduction. That'll improve your accuracy and stability once again, whilst continuously holding down the trigger. And in the final column we have some excellent choices once again. For PvE you have things like Surrounded, which will gain bonus weapon damage when 3 or more enemies are in close proximity. And again you can pair that with a Surrounded spec mod. Disruption Break also rolls on this alongside Demolitionist. This is where kills with this weapon generate grenade energy, and activating your grenade ability will reload the weapon from your reserves, and that's a very strong PvE perk indeed. I personally have Surrounded on mine, but if you're looking for the Crucible role, the Invulnerable weapon is also available on here, which will provide increased damage against any Guardians that have their super active, but also Tap the Trigger. If you can get a Dynamic Sway Reduction in the middle column and pair that with Tap the Trigger, then that will grant you a short period of increased stability and accuracy on your initial trigger pull. And those two perks together will create an incredibly stable SMG for the Crucible. And finally, this weapon was reissued in Season 11 as part of Season of Arrivals, so as a result has a power cap of 1360, so it will last you all the way up until Season 15 until the end of Year 4. So if you haven't been able to get your hands on a God roll, whether that be for PvE or PvP, be sure to focus those Unbuilt engrams to make sure you're getting your hands on one before the end of the season. So there we have it guys, that is the top 5 list for what I believe to be the best SMGs that you should be chasing down where possible ahead of Beyond Light in a few weeks time. If you have any God rolls on your weapons though, be sure to sound off down in the comment section below. Now if you have enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a rating down below, that super helps me out here on the channel. And if you're new here and want to keep up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 content, especially in the run up to Beyond Light, then be sure to hit subscribe as well. I'm going to jump back into the game as always guys, but I will catch you all again very soon.